Hi guys, do you remember what our theme is this week? It's St. Patrick's Day. The story today is the leprechaun who lost his rainbow. There's the leprechaun. What do you see here? It's a dog. Let's see what happens in the story. In the soft drizzle that was falling on St. Patrick's Day, Colleen wished her grandfather good luck. He gave her a piece of red licorice, her favorite kind, and then he was off to the parade to play the bagpipes. Her grandfather had told Colleen that the notes he and his bandmates played were like colors on the air, colors only your ears could see. Only playing music is like building a rainbow, he said. A little man I once knew taught me that. That's her grandfather. Her mom and dad were going to watch the parade from the window, but Colleen sat on the porch under her yellow umbrella. What if it rained so much that everyone went home and no one heard her grandfather's bagpipes? That would be a shame. His music was so beautiful and so sad it made people smile and cry at once. To pass the time, she played a song on her green penny whistle, which had a tiny shamrock printed on it. Her grandfather had brought it all the way from Ireland. It was her favorite thing in all the world, and she never let anyone touch it. Why did she need the umbrella? She thought it might rain. Do you see her green penny whistle? When she finished the tune, she took a bite of her licorice. Just then, a little man appeared on the top step. He was a leprechaun. "I like your penny whistle," the little man said. "You play very well." Colleen started to say thank you. Then suddenly, the leprechaun jumped into the air and took the licorice stick right out of her mouth. He dropped it into his hat. "Thank you," he said. "I'll be needing that. Or my name's not Roy G. Biv. It's just the shade of red I'm looking for." Do you see where the leprechaun got on the step? What color did he take? He took red licorice. Colleen was shocked. "What are you doing?" she shouted. "Give me my candy." The leprechaun frowned. "Your grandfather was much more helpful." "You know my grandfather?" Colleen asked. "Yes, we created a rainbow together back when he was a boy," Mr. Bibb explained. Colleen was puzzled. Could this be the little man her grandfather talked about? Mr. Bibb looked glum. "I've lost my rainbow again, and my gold is at the end of it. To be a leprechaun in good standing, I must have gold, so I need someone's help to build a rainbow." He paused. "Is that someone you?" Colleen frowned. Leprechauns were tricky. Everyone knew that. Could Mr. Bibb be telling the truth? "Let me show you something," the leprechaun said. "Spin round with that hat and watch what happens." She twirled round, holding the hat. Suddenly, a streak of bright, what color? Red, yeah, of bright red, just the color of her licorice, sprang out of the hat. It hung in the air for a moment, and then it disappeared. Colleen was amazed. "See," Mr. Bibb said, "we're starting to make a rainbow, and if there's a rainbow, the sun will come out to shine on the parade." Colleen took a deep breath. "What do we do?" "For every color, I need something that belongs to you. Something red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet." Colleen looked around. There was her new orange basketball. She hated to give it up, but she tossed it into Mr. Bibb's hat. Immediately, the orange streak shot up. Now they have two colors, red and orange. She gave him her yellow umbrella, yellow curved under the orange. Red, orange, yellow. Oh, here we go. When her blue ribbons went in, a beautiful blue appeared. They're making a rainbow. Next to go was her indigo headband. And finally, her favorite violet scarf. Where's the hat? They were putting them all in the leprechaun's hat. You're right. There it is. Now there was a rainbow of colors coming out of the hat, but something was wrong. Right between the yellow and blue was an empty space. Colleen knew which color was missing. Yes, we need green, Mr. Bibb said, and not just any green, Colleen. It's a very hard color to find, which is why rainbows are so rare. Oh, they're missing green. Where do you think they're going to find it? It was raining harder. The parade goers were starting to leave. Colleen was nervous. What would happen to the leprechaun man? You're going to have to make one more sacrifice, lass, Mr. Bibb said. I'm going to need your penny whistle with the shamrock on it. The green is the last perfect color I need for my rainbow. Oh. Colleen started to cry. No, she said, clutching her precious penny whistle. My grandfather gave it to me. But Colleen, dear, if you give me the penny whistle, you and I can make the sun shine on this parade. And your grandfather, said Mr. Bibb pleadingly. Colleen held the penny whistle to her lips and blew one last sad note. She paused, then dropped the penny whistle into the leprechaun's hat. In a flash, the rain stopped, the sun burst through the clouds, and a rainbow, complete with the most beautiful shade of green ever, spread across the sky. The parade goers gazed up in wonder, and Colleen's grandfather began to play the bagpipes. The music was so beautiful and sad that people smiled and cried all at once. Do you see her grandfather? There he is, playing the bagpipes. Do you see the leprechaun? He's right there. Do you see his pot of gold at the end of the rainbow? Let's see if he finds it. Nobody noticed that a pot of gold had appeared at the end of the rainbow right on Colleen's front lawn. Roy G. Biv dug his hand into the pot of gold and pulled out a flute that looked just like Colleen's penny whistle. But this wasn't a toy flute. It was a real one made of silver. There was a shamrock on it that looked like Colleen's, only this one was made of emeralds. Thanks for sharing with me, Mr. Bibb, Mr. Bibb said as he handed Colleen the flute, and with that, he and his pot of gold were gone. Colleen's grandfather stood in front of her. Who was that you were talking with? He asked. Roy G. Bibb, she said. He's a leprechaun. I thought I recognized him, her grandfather said. He gave me this flute, Grandpa. Ah, 'tis a nice one, silver, just like my bagpipes. What do you say we play a tune? So together they played. When Irish eyes are smiling, the colors all danced in the air. That's the end of our story, The Leprechaun Who Lost His Rainbow. Today's activity, you get to build a rainbow. You have all of your colors, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple, and clouds. You can build a rainbow. And you have pictures you can color or use a paint dauber. All of them have something about St. Patrick's Day. There's a shamrock. There's a rainbow. There's a pot of gold, just like the end of the rainbow. And do you remember who this guy is? That's the leprechaun. These are all activities you can do today that go with your story about St. Patrick's Day and the leprechaun who lost his rainbow.